Or more like a fan cut.
No, if they had a fan cut, it would have actually been good.
A movie that I would put under a bad sequel would have to be Jurassic Park 3.
Ooh.
And I haven't
There was a
actually.
third one?
Yeah, there was a third one.
There's like a fourth one, I think, too.
What?
No, they're actually
Fourth
planning
is
to
in
make a
production.
fourth
Oh, is
one.
it?
Fourth one is
Production.
in pre-production.
And in the
Yes.
fifth one, do they all become babies?
Yes, no.
Awesome.
No.
Star babies.
In the third one,
2001.
the first two were very loosely based on the books, but not really. And the third one, where they're based is from the books, and the scenes are from the books, but the plot isn't from the books. It's very weird, but I loved the first two movies. You know, I was really little when they came out, and I loved dinosaurs. I've always loved dinosaurs. I didn't want dolls. I wanted dinosaurs.
Okay.
And
I wanted dolls.
Well,
no. The first two were just epic to me, and then the third one was they're looking for a little boy who's lost, which is sad. That's not dinosaur related, and.
well, it could have been better if it got eaten.
Dinosaur
yeah,
related
that's
if
true.
he's being chased by dinosaurs.
Yeah, but he was still.
Well,
Should have been
I
eaten.
Right.
disagree, but only for one reason. 2 words: Spinosaurus.
What's the second word?
Yeah, that's all one word, dude.
That's one word.
I was exposed my joke. I was just going to let that float. Yeah, no, the Spinosaurus versus T-Rex fight was pretty rad.
That's true,
Yeah.
but
if-
I
well,
didn't
I
like
guess
the movie as a
One
whole.
great special effects scene will not save a movie.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, it depends on what you care about. I do have friends who care more for the special effects than for the plot.
That's why they see 3D.
Well, when you talk about
Oh, we're talking about 3D now?
No.
Really?
when we talk about Jurassic Park, let's be clear that most of the criticism heaped at those movies was that they didn't have any plot to
Yeah,
begin with. Which
yeah.
actually, that's something I don't understand when someone says it has no plot. Because as far as I can tell, all of those movies have a protagonist, an antagonist, and a central conflict, which is probably what you need for a plot.
yeah, we don't get eaten.
I guess I don't know. I guess what I'm looking for is a clarification as to what it means when something has no plot.
Some people consider that to mean it had a plot, but they didn't like it.
Yeah. It was a,
That's usually the
bad
translation.
plot.
That's usually what I replace
It had no
mentally in my
plot?
head
Yeah, it had
when
a
people say
bad
it had no
plot.
plot. Of course, it had a plot.
Some people didn't like The Lost World, but I think Jeff Goldblum getting center stage in that and just running
That's my
away with
favorite
it
one.
was really fun.
That certainly helps.
All right, for me, my bad movie would have to be Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3.
Not 2.
Digging,
No, not 2. I enjoyed 2.
digging deep.
It wasn't as good as the first one. The Ninja Turtles movies got steadily worse.
Right.
Ninja Turtles 2, great movie. Well, good movie.
Vanilla
Not as
Ice
good as
and
the
all.
first. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3, it just changed the entire tone of the series. They used to be ninjas with a hint of sci-fi, and now they're magically traveling through time to go fight with samurai in ancient Japan. Spoiler
like-
alert, you probably
right.
shouldn't have listened to that
No,
if you plan
that's
on watching
okay.
it.
I don't think anyone's planning on watching it, Joe.
No, I would hope not.
That's kind of like out of the comics, though. Going back.
Which
with
comics are we talking about, though?
Ninja
Are we talking
Turtle
about the original Image comics?
Yeah, kind of.
They didn't
like
really
the-
travel through time. That was all
bunny.
sci-fi. That was all
Okay.
aliens and robots and, I mean, not the Technodrome, not until the cartoon in the early 90s, late 80s.
Nice.
Yeah, late
80s.
Was it?
I want to say it was 89.
Well, maybe.
I was in the
Yeah.
5th grade, so that would have been 88.
Yeah, it was early 80s, late 80s.
I remember watching that.
Yeah, me too. Big time.
Well, they repeated it. It
Oh, yeah.
ran for
I was
6
only
years.
2 then.
Yeah.
They were producing new episodes for 6 years, which was really rare at the time for a show like that.
Yeah. But I mean that colossal toy line, of course. But anyway, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3. It was different, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. But I feel it took the series in a worse direction than if they had not introduced magic.
I think leaving the Shredder out was a big mistake. I think when you had the first 2 movies set up as a narrative as the Turtles fight the Shredder, and then you make another sequel where this character doesn't show up again, and you're taking them in a completely different direction that nobody was expecting. I think that was a bit shocking for a lot of fans.
Yeah, and we talked a little bit earlier about movies that are it's multiple movies in one long narrative. Ninja Turtles 3 just did not fit the narrative of the Ninja Turtles movies at all. It was, some people may have enjoyed it, but it was so different in tone and in plot and in everything that I could not sit there and enjoy it. I'm a pedantic dork. What do you want?
So what do we think about the reboot that's coming? That they're going to be like aliens or something?
That's an interesting question, because that presumption was made on an off-the-cuff comment that Michael Bay made as producer to a Nickelodeon audience, probably not that familiar with the original series already, right. But this is, of course, made long before any real production decisions had been made.
Right.
And what I think it may have been the director, or it could have been one of the writers, came out and clarified the connection between aliens and the turtles from the original comic book series, which was to say what turned them into Ninja Turtles came from outer space, or what mutated them into anthropomorphic turtle men.
Yes.
Pardon my stutter.
I had only heard that other rumor, so that's why.
Yeah, no, I think I'm going to withhold judgment, other than to say Michael Bay has a tendency to turn really thin concepts into giant piles of money.
Right.
So here's hoping.
Yeah, exactly. And exploding money at that.
Exploding money, yeah. Well, I think that he needs the money so he can pay for more explosions.
That's one thing I do like about Michael Bay, is he likes using real explosions.
Practical effects, right?
He blows up real stuff.
He smashes real cars, he blows up real buildings.
Which is,
he's a big fan of that.
I kind of like that just because, CG blowing stuff up is great. You can make it look really cool, but just
deep down,
there's
it's fake.
There's a visceral feel of, watching that, plane blow up, or car, or whatever, cars flipping over and exploding. I mean, that, seeing a real car do that, there's just something cool about that.
Yeah, speaking of bad sequels, there's nothing impressive when you see a Fast and the Furious sequel and they use CGI cars to throw off the cliffs.
No, that's horrible.
That's I mean, not that.
I suppose it saves some money, but.
Well, they were. I mean, I think they were worried about the extended profitability of a series that ended up
blowing up every single car in the movie.
Working out, but no.
Yeah, we have this.
Sorry about that.
In Fast and the Furious Part 2, they did a lot of CGI that kind of ruined what made the first film so successful, which was the use of live-action cars. In the hopes of seeing them be crushed and exploded.
I'm going to throw out Poltergeist 3. Now, for a reason. Now, here's the reason. Okay. I saw Poltergeist 1 when I was pretty young. I was little, and my older siblings brought me to the movie theater. Back before, obviously this was back before there was PG-13.
Right,
so Poltergeist 1 was actually rated R, and so
it was rated PG actually. At the time, it was rated PG.
Was it? I thought it was R at the time, because there was some stuff in it. But so they take me to this movie, and obviously I'm like 9 or something, 8, 9 years old. So obviously it kind of freaked me out. So then when 2 comes around, again, I go to the theater to see it. Again, fairly young.
Glutton for punishment.
And I was, and that one really freaked me out. Now, obviously now, watching them now, they're a joke. They're not even funny, but they're not scary at all.
I don't think I've rewatched them in years because they freaked me out so bad.
The first one is a pretty well-made film.
Oh, the first one was
well
great.
Directed,
and even the second one wasn't bad. Now the third one, where they take it and put it in the building, and it was just horrible. I mean, it was just, there was, maybe I was older, so, it didn't scare me at all. And I'm like, well, this isn't scary at all. This is really kind of lame.
That movie was plagued with production problems, and then having your main actress die halfway through filming was a big problem. Remember all the urban legends, though, about how supposedly they got the family's permission to use the dead body in the shots?
No, it was a doll. In the last shot.
We believed that because we wanted to, I guess, when you're 12. But
Some other great urban legends with that would be like a whole bunch of people associated with the franchise died. Like the older daughter from the first movie. Like,
that's true. Yeah, there were a number of deaths involved.
It's like who would want to work on one of those movies?
And yet Craig T. Nelson's still going strong.
Yeah, of course. Well, he's coach.
Of course he's.
What about again, some other.
Did we get to bad movies all the way down?
Oh,
Yeah, he said.
Did you do your bad movie, Joe?
Ninja Turtles 3.
Oh, that's right. I don't
Yeah,
know.
we did.
Of course, if you want me to throw out another one,
Yo, go for it. Let's.
a slightly more controversial pick, I think, but Batman Returns.
Batman Returns.
Batman Returns was another one of those Tim Burton, not Edward Scissorhands movies.
Right.
But it also threw in a penguin who grew up with actual penguins in the sewer. It threw in a Catwoman who wasn't so much a thief, so much as a woman who came back to life because cats licked her. To its credit, it had a lot of Christopher Walken.
That always helps.
But it was the formulaic superhero sequel plot of everybody turning against the superhero.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody does that. Have you noticed? And you know, I realized they did that in The Dark Knight too.
Right.
It's a good
But-
tension-building tool.
It is, but I don't feel that Batman Returns did it well.
No, I think the issue with that movie was Tim Burton had been reined in really well on the 1989 Batman, and it had made so much money that they decided to cut him loose. And instead of making a sequel to Batman, he made a sequel to Edward Scissorhands.
Right.
But it was Edward Flipper Hands.
I mean, yeah, the penguin, a grotesque penguin with flipper hands and black snot pouring out of his nose, running around in a one-piece jumpsuit underwear was too far. Nobody wanted to see Danny DeVito in that getup.
No.
Penguin needs to have his little monocle and just be kind of, you know.
Penguin is human.
I know.
He didn't bleed black. He wasn't actually a penguin, which I think confused Tim Burton a little bit.
I mean, if he wanted to do grotesque, he could have done Two-Face.
Yeah, very true.
But no, he chose to do it. I always saw Oswald Cobblepot as like a social competitor with Bruce Wayne. And I feel that was not exploited and should have been.
Well, that's the
in
great thing
any
about
story with
really
the
all
Penguin.
Batman villains. To go on a slight tangent because I'm a comic book dork, the really great Batman villains are all facets of Batman himself.
Right.
Batman's more than a little insane. Who's his best known enemy? The Joker. Batman has two lives. Two-Face. Batman is a rich socialite. Penguin. Batman is a vigilante who works outside the law. Catwoman. And so on. All the best Batman villains are
Yeah,
facets of
yeah.
Batman himself given physical form. I always liked that about him.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I don't think I ever pieced that together.
No,
That's cool.
I know,
Great insight from
I'm
Joe.
trying to go through his rogues gallery in my head to find one to make a joke about, and I can't really. They all kind
Like
of
the Mad
reflect it in
Hatter,
some
his
way.
daddy issues.
Yeah,
There you go.
yeah. What about Killer Croc?
I would say his physical strength. His not so much training, but his strength, his body. His will to
Adopting
persevere.
a scary animal aspect.
Also
Very
that. Well, that'd be more Man-Bat. The Bat Totem.
You're losing us.
I'm also going to throw out something that's a little controversial in a way for because I don't think they're bad, but then again, I'm fairly easy to please. Well, we're gonna hit the Star Wars prequels.
I like them.
Now, I personally don't think they even need to make the Phantom Menace. I think they should have started with Attack of the Clones. Personally, I don't think there's really not a whole lot in Phantom Menace that they needed to do. You didn't need to start with Anakin being a little tiny kid. I think.
But you absolutely
Well,
need to see Liam Neeson be the bearded mentor who dies.
Yeah, well,
I
you
totally
could-
disagree. He was a character nobody had ever heard of before that took center stage in front of everybody
No, I'm not
we
talking
were
about
expecting
in
to
movies.
see.
I'm talking about I like watching Liam Neeson.
Yeah, I was going to say,
so.
he was the best part of the first movie, really.
No, I think viewing Anakin as a kid gave him more of a human side because everybody's always just known him as Darth Vader. He's the epitome of evil
But,
in everything, and they had to give him more of a beginning, to say he didn't start out as evil.
But I think that from episode 4, New Hope, when Obi-Wan's explaining to Luke, who his father was, he mentions that, when I first met your father, he was, a great star pilot and a cunning warrior, and he's 9. No, you should have been like, a teenager and been, when Obi-Wan first met him, you should have been like a teenager, and been pretty cool.
Or at least having had established himself.
Right.
Or at
in
least,
some sort of way.
with the ability to see over the windshield.
Right, exactly. Without needing, the booster seat.
I think And I think there's an aspect of sort of nerd psychology we can examine here. When we look at these genres, science fiction, fantasy, comic book superheroes, there's a tendency amongst a lot of people to associate that with childhood, with kids, and to look at grown men
And women.
and women, well, partially grown.
I'm fully grown. I'm just small.
Grown men and women still engaging in the types of entertainment that most people associate with childhood has a tendency to add to the ostracism that most nerds feel already being social rejects. So I think when you take a beloved series like that and you interject a kid as a lead character, you know, that sort of redirects the series as directly catering to a youth market. And I think a lot of fans felt really betrayed by that, because for 16 years they were trying to explain to everybody that, no, this is a genre you can take seriously.
Right. It's not just for kids. But
And so I think we all felt a little betrayed by George Lucas in that sense. And it would take Peter Jackson to fix that problem for us.
now, one thing I figured out finally, after thinking about it for a long time with Revenge of the Sith, figured out, like, Jamie talks about, our friend Jamie, he talks about how it has like no continuity and all that. I think
Jumps around.
Yeah, I think one thing you could have done is, I don't know what you'd put in there, but if you took the sequence almost, with General Grievous and Obi-Wan right out of the movie, pluck it right out, because it really didn't matter.
No, well.
You know what I mean? It just kind of got him away for a little while. If you didn't even introduce Grievous at all, I'm not sure what you could do there.
Well, I think the thinking was double lightsaber in Episode 1 was cool,
but
but 4 lightsabers at once is awesome.
I get that idea, but I'm saying if you pluck that right out of the middle of the movie and maybe stretched out some of the other cool exposition stuff from the end of the beginning part and the end part, and kind of mixed it in there, I think it would have made a much better movie.
You realize you're suggesting the removal of the most interesting character from the film.
Who?
Not that I'm a big fan of Revenge of the Sith, but Grievous was the most interesting new character introduced in that film.
Well, I don't. I don't think you need to be in it.
Well, no.
I didn't find him interesting. He's a robot.
We're talking about a series with no interesting characters, really. So.
See, I disagree. I think